Is this just another role to play?
No, this is probably the most important thing I'll ever do acting wise in my life. I don't think anything will ever hold as much weight for me. I've been very active since October 7th, being an advocate for the hostages and going to hostage rallies and putting up hostage posters. And so when I saw this was happening, I immediately submitted for it on an acting website and I put in my message, I fully support this. This means so much to me.
Hello, it's live from New York, and it's the Anne Film Scoop. Okay, not live, but anyway, we're in New
Outside
York.
is New York. Outside is New York City. Out there, you can hear it. And I'm sure before we're finished, there'll be some kind of really loud siren to remind us that we're here.
Yes. I'm 𝙈𝙤𝙀𝙗𝙀𝙗.
And I'm Phelan McAleer and Anne McElhinney.
What's your name again?
I'm Anne McElhinney. I know I haven't lost my identity completely yet.
Okay. I'm Phelan McAleer, and this is Phelan McAleer as well. And welcome to the Anne and Film Scoop. What's on today's show? We have a very special interview today. It's one of the most interesting and moving interviews we've ever done. It's two people we interview. I don't want to give away too much, but these are special people.
Yes.
In a special situation, in a unique situation, telling an incredible story. You won't want to miss it. And we also are going to give you a lot. The audience just love our October 7th play, which is off Broadway, just down the road from here.
And as people come out of the theatre every time there's a show, we go and we ask people, do you mind saying something? Can we ask you, what did you think of the show and whatever?
Yes.
So we're gonna share a couple of those with you.
Yes, and we bring you the latest miscarriage of justice from DC. Yes, I know there's a lot these days. This one's particularly awful, but I mean, you could just list the miscarriages of justice. It's coming out of DC, but not only DC, the coastal cities. No conservative or anyone who steps out of line can have any justice. Mark Stein, any of the list goes on. But this miscarriage of justice,
most recent miscarriage of justice,
is just appalling.
Yeah.
So
we're going to start.
Let's start the show. We're going to play you some videos now of people after the October 7th show. Just to remind you what the October 7th play is. We went to Israel after October 7th.
Spoke to people all over the country. We travelled, we rented a car and drove all over the place and interviewed people who had survived the worst day of their lives. Mm-hmm. The worst massacre of Jews since the Holocaust. And we found, we went there because we thought the media were trying to memory hold this story, and we're talking about something else. Almost immediately moving on to talking about Gaza. Yeah. So we wanted to preserve the memories of the people that we met. So we met like a whole bunch of people. We've distilled it down to 13 different people telling what happened to them from October 6th through to the end of October 7th.
Yes, we noticed this, and even I'm looking up at Colombia here, and it's all about Gaza, it's all about Palestine, it's all about the world starts on October 8th in these encampments, and in much of the world's media. The world started on October 8th. We're saying there would be no war in Gaza if it wasn't for October 7th. There was a ceasefire on October 6th, and we need to come back to that.
And we need to come back to the fact that there are hostages. And actually, I hadn't put this in the notes, but let me just mention this, and we'll put a photograph up here. I was very, very graciously invited to Cedar, I hope I pronounced it correctly, with 𝙤𝙤 𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀 from Newsweek, and I came up to New York for that. And she had other friends there. And I'm just showing a photograph now. And they decided, given what was happening in Israel, that they would have a place setting for one of the hostages, that we would remember one of the hostages. And, and randomly we chose one name, and it was Ron Benjamin. And obviously, some of you would know that a couple of days ago, his body was recovered. Ron Benjamin's 53 years old. 53. He was out cycling with a bunch of friends. Wow. And when the attack started, so the minute I heard them saying, and the body of Ron Benjamin has been discovered, I thought, oh God, I know that name. Mm-hmm. And I looked, and there's the photograph of me, not of me, but of 𝙤𝙤, the picture of 𝙤𝙤 𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀 and our friend 𝙎𝙘 sitting, and in between them is the photograph of Ron Benjamin. Yeah. So we obviously, this is all it's a very tough time for people. But let's listen to one of the voices.
Can I just say something? If you want tickets for the show, October 7th, the play is running until June 16th here in New York. So October 7th, the play. If you want to donate, the security, it's the only play in New York that needs a permanent police presence. and we have private security inside. And if you know anything about private security, especially let's say the type of security this needs,
requires,
yes,
it's
not
expensive.
cheap.
So it's very simple. Go to 𝙈7𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀𝙀.com, 𝙈7𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀𝙀.com, and you can buy tickets there, but you can also donate. And we would appreciate donations. We definitely need them. So we're going to start by looking at one of the young people who saw the play recently. Let's have a listen to this.
I honestly didn't know what to expect when I was going into the play. I didn't understand what it was going to be, and it sounded like a play is usually something for amusement, and I was worried it would be somewhat inappropriate, and it was not at all. It was incredible. It told a story most appropriately in such an intense, emotional way. I also, after walking out of the show, I found out that the producer and director was not Jewish. And I found that incredibly profound, that someone who did not necessarily experience personal suffering from this tragedy was standing up for this injustice that's happening. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you come from, but that when you see something that is inherently wrong and cruel, and you have these actors, and it doesn't matter what their background is, but they understand what they're saying. And they're saying a clear and powerful message. And they're expressing to the world what happened. And the truth speaks for itself. And I'm just so grateful for all of those supporting Israel. Because we really have to stand together now. We have to speak for the truth.
And let's play this.
And let's play this other one as well,
Yes,
from this lady who also came to see the play.
I'm an indigenous Jewish woman from Jerusalem, dating 2000 back to King David, who was born in Bethlehem. It's very hard for me to talk right now. I'm very emotional. I lost a cousin and her husband, not now, but 13 years ago, for the same terrorists. She was raped and also murdered, but nobody spoke about the rape. So this. So this really brought up a lot of, there was never justice done to her body, that she was raped. They hid the fact. People know her, 𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀𝙀𝙀 Hochberg. She left over a son, and I finally felt this time that finally they're talking, that they rape. And so I thank you very much for putting the effort and sacrificing to You're Not Jewish, and even more so the gratitude for not being Jewish and coming out to Israel to document what happened. It's really very, very important, and I hope you get the right sponsorship to take this further onto Broadway. This is important enough for the world. And just so you know that there's a special name in the Bible for people like you. They're called 𝙎𝙤𝙤 𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀𝙀, and they're known to get a special place in paradise. Non-Jews who are protecting Jews are called 𝙎𝙤𝙤 𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀𝙀. Specifically, they're known to have a special place in paradise, in the next dimension. So all I can say, I bless you, and I bless you to find a sponsor, enough money to bring this to the next level, way next level, to be on Broadway with the performers here were great. You were able to feel the true emotions, the authentic, and that was really a wonderful variable to be able to bring it out and to find the right messenger. Once again, may God help you in your journey, and thank you for bringing healing to so many. And one pebble thrown in the water has an endless impact. Thank you. Much gratitude to you.
And then we'll finish by looking at these two other young people who saw the play. Let's have a listen to that.
We came with YU to the play. I came because Kylie told me about it. And it was not what I expected at all. When I was telling people, I brought my sister too, and she said, "What is it?" And I said, "It's a play, but there's no way it's actually a play. Like there's no way that they're reenacting it. I think it's just, I never thought that could be possible. It's so hard to convey what's actually going on, and it's such a sensitive thing that you want to be so careful. So it's there's no way they're doing it." And we were talking about it today, like, what's it going to be like? And I came in with my sister, and it was a play. And then I was very, very moved by everything. The actors conveyed it so well. And I was in Israel on October 7th. I was in Spot, and I didn't know what was going on until a few days later. And I didn't know the full extent of what was going on specifically within the Nova Festival until tonight. And so to know that, like, at that time, I knew exactly where I was, and I didn't know that this was happening. And they said 10 a.m., and I know exactly where I was at 10 a.m. And it was very emotional for me to be there. And I just was thinking about everyone. Like, I know my sister was also, I can't imagine what she was going through at that time, at exactly 10 a.m. on October 7th and everything. And so to see that people are doing this and that people are actually telling what's going on they're trying from such an authentic point of view is so important. And we're seeing, it feels so frustrating to see online that people keep misunderstanding what's going on, and they're forgetting that it's just about people. And it becomes this whole political whatever sides and protest, and I don't know what people are doing. And the point is that there's people who are at a festival and had to go through these things for hours and hours and hours. And it doesn't matter which side, it doesn't matter what type of person you were. Like, everyone was taken hostage. Americans were taken hostage. Jews were taken hostage. Everyone. It doesn't matter. And people are forgetting. They're turning this into a political thing, and it's not about that. And it's about real people's stories. And so to know that the directors went and they did their research and they actually went to Israel, and I feel that they very much, I mean, who am I to say, but I think that they really conveyed what was going on appropriately, and it was so important to see, and I finally feel relief that this is being understood a little bit more. So thank you.
If I can also say something. I think everyone right now is saying that it's been like 7 months and people are already forgetting, but I think what people don't realize is that on October 8th, people were still forgetting, and I think just to see a focus on the fact that people were going through pain and not around the politics that what was happening, but rather the fact that people's lives were taken, people were raped, people were kidnapped, and that's not excusable. And I think that this production brings light to the fact that that happened, and I hope that this gets to the people that need to see this. So I want to thank the directors and writers of this.
The reviews are in.
The reviews are in, yeah,
and,
exactly.
Let's put up the Jerusalem Post did a very positive article on it.
Yeah, we've got a half page in the Jerusalem Post, which is very, very nice.
Yes.
But we mentioned at the beginning of the show that we had this extraordinary, this amazing experience on opening night. Shani, who is one of the Nova survivors who's featured in the play, flew in from Israel and sat in the audience, all very secretive.
Yes.
And at the very end, you'll see us again. We showed this last week, but it's worth watching again. We called her up on stage to meet the actress who's playing her, who's Jenny. So in the meantime, a week has passed. These two, of course, have decided that they're best friends forever and have been playing and going out and enjoying New York. And we decided to drag them back into the podcast studio and have a conversation about what it meant to each of them to get to meet each other, what the play meant to them. Let's go to that interview now.
So we're joined now by two very special people, Shani Arditi, and who is one of the Nova Festival survivors who we interviewed in Israel. I think she was one of the last people we interviewed.
Yes.
Her story was amazing. It was compelling, and we just had to make it really the center, or one of the central stories of our October 7 play. Shani came from Israel, flew in that morning to attend the opening night of the play October 7th. And then we're also joined by Jenny Anne Hochberg, who is the actress who played Shani, who we surprised on opening night. Surprised is a word.
Surprised.
Shocked.
I think so, yeah. Electrocuted.
Stunned.
With excitement, yes.
With excitement.
Yes.
So let's watch some video of Jenny being absolutely gobsmacked. Let's watch that video now.
We have just a very special, very, very special Jenny. Where's Jenny? Jenny, come out. Can Shani come up from the audience?
So welcome to the show, Shani and Jenny. We have a lot to talk about. Well, first of all, Shani,
Yeah.
Tell us where you're from, what you do, and a little about your experience on October 7. I know it's a long story, but
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, I'm Shani. I'm living in 𝘼𝙣𝙤. Right now, I'm a bachelor student to chemistry.
mhm.
And yeah, I came to the Nova Festival to teach an acro yoga lesson. And yeah.
And then everything started.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
you ran with your friends, and you found a hiding space. How long were you hiding for?
For like 5 or 6 hours.
And the hiding space was basically a bush of thorns, a field of
Bush of
thorns.
thorns, yeah.
And these are not the
Full of
thorns. Yeah,
thorns.
these are not the thorns that we were brought up with in Ireland. Thorns in Ireland are this length here. These are these incredibly long thorns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And you were
Like,
hiding
really
underneath
hurts.
that for and when you initially were hiding there, who were you hiding with?
With the 3 of my friends, 𝙎𝙘𝙤𝙘𝙀𝙾, Maya, and 𝙎𝙘. Yeah.
And-
that.
and then 3 people joined you. Now,
Yeah.
and can I just say that she was not dressed as she is dressed now. She was dressed for a music festival.
She was not dressed appropriately to be hiding under a thorn bush. That's for sure.
In shorts and yeah.
Yes. So, and you were rescued by a man called Leon, who
Mhm.
drove a van. But you were there. I mean, the story is amazing, and I feel like we only captured a little bit of your story, even though your story is a central part of it. I mean, your general, you're an IDF reservist, a battle medic, and your general phoned you at one stage and says, "Where are you? You're supposed to be reporting to your unit, and there's a war on." And you go, "I know there's a war on. I'm in the middle of it."
We're being shot at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and all the time they were shooting at you. So that's a small summary of your story.
Yeah.
Yes. So after, as I said, after October 7th, you re-enlisted in the IDF, and you're a battle medic there. So I want to go to Jenny now. So Jenny plays Shani in October 7th, the play. Tell me, I suppose, about your experience of being in this play. It's not your first acting role. You've been in Law and Order. You've a recurring role in Blue Bloods. You've been in Parks and Recreation. Is this just another role to play?
No, this is probably the most important thing I'll ever do acting wise in my life. I don't think anything will ever hold as much weight for me. I've been very active since October 7th, being an advocate for the hostages and going to hostage rallies and putting up hostage posters. And so when I saw this was happening, I immediately submitted for it on an acting website, and I put in my message, "I fully support this. This means so much to me. I would love nothing more than to be considered." And so when I was offered it Tuesday night, 3 weeks ago almost, I was so thrilled. And for me, and I've told her this, the most important thing is it's not about me as an actor. It's not about the any success that comes from this. It's more about her story, and these people's stories deserve to be told. And so nothing will ever compare for this. This means so much to me to give her a voice every show, every performance.
Can I ask, you saw a script came through, or even you saw the project was by somebody with an Irish sounding name, and an Irish woman. Were you suspicious? Because Ireland doesn't have the...
I know. It's very iffy there right now with everything.
Yeah.
No, when I saw the project, that's all. And I kind of knew Robin, who's casting. I had met her sort of through social media previously, but when I saw the project, immediately my heart went, I have to do this. I have to. Nothing in me was like, I cannot do this.
I want to go back and talk a little bit about what happened to you, actually, Shani, because there's certain moments of your story that were breathtaking for us to listen to. And I remember being in your homes interviewing you for 3 hours, I think it was. And as the film said, it was one of the last interviews we did, but we came away kind of, and I remember thinking, not for 1 second of the 3 hours were we like, oh God, would she ever get on with this? It was never like that. It was like, oh my God. And I particularly the end, I just have such a clear memory as well of Leon, and we're going to talk about Leon in a minute. Yeah. But before I talk about Leon, I want to talk about something very extraordinary that happened to you while you were in hiding, because you realized that your body was all very shiny and you were kind of being careful to try and not be seen. But then you realized you had this piece of jewelry. Tell us about the piece of jewelry you were wearing.
Okay, I have it right now, but it's flipped because it's word about it, the word 𝙈𝙤𝙤. 𝙈𝙤𝙤, it means that like God keep you, God save you. I don't know how to,
Yeah.
So like it's like really strong from a prayer that we have, and it's like it's just give me hope, and
you were at the worst, possibly the worst. I mean, you tell me. I mean, potentially, was this the worst moment in your whole life?
This was the worst.
Yeah, the absolute worst. So then you realize you have this piece of jewelry, and you then, I think you said,
hold it. I like hold it all the time and just pray, and everything's gonna be okay. And I was totally sure that I'm going back home at that day. I knew that.
You were going to go home.
Yeah, I knew that. I felt it. It's like a very strong feeling that I had.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just knew that I'm.
And it's one of the themes that we've noticed through the people that we spoke to. A lot of people, who I know you've said that you're not, that you're not very religious, but a lot of people and people like yourself said the same thing, that, at that moment they did pray and they prayed the Shema, and that they felt the protection, that they felt that something had happened to, and you had this extremely unusual and special moment that happened quite soon after you prayed. What happened?
I saw a bird, and I felt like a strong feeling that someone that is not alive just next to me. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a feeling, And when I came back home, I told this to my mom, and then she told me that October 7th, this is the date that my grandfather just died.
He had died that many years ago.
On
that
6 years
October
ago.
7th.
Yeah, on October 7th.
Yeah, but it was so it really struck me, because I said lots of people have said something kind of similar, and I just thought that there was, and I don't know whether maybe this is a moment when Jewish people are going to find faith that maybe they had lost in the past, because I so many people, as you probably heard when you saw the play as well, they said, I'm going to say the Shema anyway, just to be, just to be on the safe side. But Phelim, did you have another question that you wanted to ask?
Yeah. Well, there was so much to ask, and I go back and forward and go back and forward. So you said yes to this project, and then you got the script.
Yeah.
Tell us about your role.
Okay.
What your play? So just to remind people, every word that Jenny says on stage is verbatim. It was said by Shani. It was a description of the day that she spent, October 7th, and a little bit before and a little bit after, but mostly what happened to her on that day. And every word, we didn't add one word. I hope you noticed that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, it must have been a kind of a weird feeling for you to sit there and hear your words being spoken on stage in New York.
I didn't expect to this.
Yeah, but it's good.
It's like exactly my own word.
Yeah, yes, that's great.
So you got the script. What did you think of the script? What do you think of Shani's role? And tell us what you think Shani's role is. What was the role of it?
I felt when I first saw the script, I was like, okay, I can do this, not too many pages. And then after our first rehearsal, we received the updated script. I went, oh, it's so many pages. And she said so much, but then I knew I had to get to work immediately. But for me, as an actress, we don't get to play roles like her very often. She is emotional, she's caring, she's sensitive, and she is so strong. And to play this, she has become my hero through this play. And I feel like my purpose in the play, honestly, is to bring hope. Because at the end of the play, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but everyone comes out and shares where they are after the Nova Festival, after what happened at the kibbutz. And mine is more, I feel like, the more uplifting thing of what's happened. And I also just personally connect to her journey. I've not been through to quite what she's been through, but because of October 7th, I got closer to my faith too, and closer to my religion. And it's a dream every night to be able to bring her story to life on stage.
It's correct.
I love the play. When people ask me, and I get asked a lot as an actor, what's your favorite thing you've ever done? Hands down, this will be it.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
So happy about that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, tell me, your favorite parts, or what moves you. What parts do you enjoy? What parts,
I know what she's gonna say.
I love when the combat medic comes out and I start telling all the guys on the floor to drop and like how to protect themselves. And it's really nice to be in control of men in that moment,
Yeah.
but also the tree part, just because I feel very similar to my grandparents watching over me. And so that always hits home for me. I just love being able, I think the whole thing I love is just being able to go from being super bubbly in the beginning, but being super strong and then also being emotional. And it's okay as a woman to show emotion in this play.
I want to talk about how. Yeah, so your favorite part is the medics telling the medics,
but also the tree that always means so much to me. Talk about her necklace, to talk about the grandfather, the bird, and that's the part I connect to so much in my own life.
I had a conversation with you, and you said there was another part where you turn to the audience and you there's something you say and you think,
oh yes. Okay, so I don't spell too much, but there's a part where through her story, she sees a girl who's been shot all over 6 times.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I always turn to the audience. And when I'm saying, that's the reason she wasn't screaming, in my mind, I'm saying, now do you believe this is real?
yes,
This really happened. And I'm almost angry, not at them, but I'm almost angry at the audience for not believing this happened.
Yeah.
Even though everyone I believe is coming as supportive of this. But that's what I always think when I say that line every time.
Yeah.
I'm like
That's a
shaking
very-
right now.
What?
Yeah, it's like really hard to remember this situation.
Yeah,
yeah.
that must have been
My
shocking.
heartbeat is like
Yeah.
rising right now.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask next. Actually, you came to opening night.
Yeah.
How does it feel to hear your story being discussed here and being played on stage? Was it traumatic? I think I heard you at one stage say it was probably therapeutic as well. Was it both? I mean,
Yeah, it was both, because when I'm talking about it, I don't feel all the emotion, the fear, and the anxiety.
Yes,
Yeah.
anxiety. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really feel it. And when I saw me, yeah, so all this emotion I could feel it, because it's like kind of, I told you this yesterday, it's kind of a closure for me, for my emotion, for everything, I think. Yeah. So
To see it all enacted, reenacted.
yeah, I didn't felt okay at the moment, when we escape, when we hide, of course there is a fear and everything, but I felt so strong for me and for my friends. So the fear wasn't the strongest emotion that I felt at the moment. So I felt it only after, actually.
Mhm.
And
What was the strongest emotion?
hope.
Wow.
Yeah, hope. And I was like really optimistic that I'm going back home.
Wow. Wow.
So-
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
so I have a question from my point of view to ask you. As you know, the story is edited. It's suppressed. Do you think we and Jenny told your story properly?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right
course.
answer.
Of course, Shani is amazing. Yeah, really, it's amazing. Obviously, there is a little part from my story that wasn't at the play, because if how you say, if it's
If we had done everything,
Yeah,
about you, it goes for 4 hours. 6
yeah,
hours.
forever, like
yeah.
forever.
Never a
So,
dull.
yeah.
We interviewed you for 3 hours. There was never a dull moment, so we could have made the play just about you. So,
And your
Yeah, of
friends who
course,
were
but-
hiding with you, where are they now? What are they doing now?
Oh, Yoav is playing his music. Yeah, Yovel is right now is a bachelor student to medicine.
Medicine. He's a medical
Yeah,
student.
he's And Maya, I don't know how to say it in English. I need to check it in Google Translate, actually.
Okay.
But she made clothes for festivals.
Oh,
She's
Okay.
like really talented.
Right, like a
Really.
designer?
Yeah, she is a designer.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Okay. So everyone's kind of back working and living their lives.
Yeah.
yeah. So Jenny, you did the previews, and then we had the opening night, and everyone's stressed with opening night.
I was not stressed, actually. I was actually very calm because my mom was going to be there.
Yes.
But I also knew we have worked. I told everyone this in the cast. We have worked so hard.
Yeah.
We have worked endlessly. I told her what the process is like. We rehearsed for 6 hours a day, and then all of us go home and memorize for 6 more hours, making sure we were doing justice to everyone's stories. But I just felt like I worked hard. I deserve to enjoy this.
Yeah.
And I know I'm good. And I know that I'm doing justice to her story. And so I actually was very calm opening.
Oh, that's great.
Can I just say something? I mean, normally if you're dealing with 13 actors, somebody is
difficult.
Normally, if you're dealing with 13 actors, this is somebody falls out with someone argues with someone. I've never met a more dedicated group of actors, and this is not one of these interviews that you do publicizing something where everyone says we got on so well and they all hated each other. I've never met a more dedicated bunch of actors. If I'd asked you to rehearse for 60 hours, you'd have done it.
I would've.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
Also, this means so much to me and what the story means. And also, can I talk about Noah for a second? Is that
Yeah.
okay? Of course. So the reason I became so active for being an advocate for the hostages was because of Noah. And I don't want to say her name wrong. Can you say her last name for me? Noah
Arditi.
Arditi. Arditi. She's one of the hostages still being held. Her mother is battling cancer, and her video broke me. And she's the reason I'm doing this play. And then to find out that she's friends with her.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
she is in my university, and she is friends of friends, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So I know her.
So I'm sorry, what was your question one more time? Because I got off.
Well, no, I was more like a statement. Like I've never seen a more
yeah.
bunch of.
And we are like a family.
Yeah.
Like we are our women's room, because it's been stressful getting, because all the sound cues, all the lighting cues, it's a lot. And I told her how many we had. But they've been like, I mean, everyone's a family member. I can't imagine these people weren't in my life 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, and I want to say this. It's a very complex play.
Yes.
It's like a musical, actually, because it's
There's
choreographed.
a lot of movement.
There's light and there's
So much,
sound.
so much writing. And also the way we all had to memorize, we were trying to figure out in the beginning, because none of us have scenes together. None of us really talk, except for me and the girl who plays Maya, Marissa. We don't really interact. We just go off each other's stories. So we were like, how do we memorize this? And so the more we all practiced, the more we rehearsed it, the easier memorizing became, is once I was like, oh, I know my journey now, and I know where I'm supposed to go with this.
Yeah.
It's funny. I mentioned to you the other night, because there's a moment where you're hiding under the bush, and you think that you got shot because you got this really bad pain in your bottom, and then Mia
Actually, I still have a scar.
And then this is what you said. This is what you said. I'm not asking to look at it, but yeah, but basically, yeah. But then it was really funny, because you basically said, yeah, I've actually still got a scar. Oh my God, yeah, because you thought, and that's how bad it was.
That's the first thing she told me when we got off. So we were like in front of the theater. She's like, I still have the scar mess. I was like, do you?
You've seen it then.
No. She showed me her back though when she got out.
Yeah, I have a picture of my back.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
That's wild.
I mean, so we were very funny. I wasn't worried when we knew you were coming over, and then I think it was someone in the management team, said we should really warn Shani about the noise and the bullets and all. I was going, oh yeah. So I told you, and I could see that made you nervous, and we were sitting behind you in the audience, and then when you turned to us and said, I still have the scar on my bottom, I was thinking, oh, she's okay, right? that was the thing that relaxed me, because I was just waiting for you to walk out unable to handle it, which would be a perfectly understandable reaction as far as I'm concerned. So I think I've asked you this, but what did it feel like being there in the audience?
Wow, it was super emotion for me, like really.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But it was good. It was really good. I need it.
Okay. Yeah. No, I think that's a really interesting way of saying it, and that you feel like you got some kind of closure out of it as well.
Yeah.
Amazing. If that was of any help at all. My
Yes.
God, really great.
That's why I share my story, because you know, like I said before, when I'm talking about it, I don't feel the feeling during
Well, that's
about the story, and when I saw it, so I felt
you felt
everything.
more. Wow,
Yeah, I
that's
felt
a
more.
tremendous.
Somebody-
That's a tremendous
I know,
compliment to
she
the
told me
actress.
that. We were in a Uber yesterday and she told me that, and I was like, that's all that to be told that, because I told her I've been through not quite the trauma she's been through, but I've been through my own things in life, and to hear that was like the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't tell you, Jenny, that Shani was in the audience. I'm glad we didn't. We thought it might freak you out.
Oh, I would have been like worried the whole time what she thought.
Yes.
The whole time.
So now it was the management. I think it was Daniela who said we should put her beside Jenny's mother, and I was going, no, we should do that. And then I've got enough things to worry about. They know best. They know how these work.
Well,
Anyway, so
someone-
Jenny's mother is a lovely, lovely woman. And I think that's why they thought she'd be safe there. But tell us what it was so. And Shani was sitting in the aisle, and tell us what it was like, because you could see your mother. Tell us what it was like.
Yeah.
You didn't know who Shani was.
No, I just kept seeing this girl move in the aisle, and I thought someone's really not sitting still. And then my mom was next to her, and my mom, I looked at my mom in moments, because I look in the audience and I really try to make eye contact with everyone and tell them her story. But then my mom kept looking at her like, and I thought, do they have a fight? This girl who keeps moving, like, what happened before? And then when I walked past my mom after she came out, and we did the whole surprise for me. When I walked past my mom, she was crying. She was like, she was sitting next to me the whole time.
She's super cute.
Yeah.
Wow.
She was so honored though. What Danielle told her at the party was she chose her because my mom, she met her and was so caring.
Yes.
And so can I tell what happened when my mom found out?
please.
So she was placed next to her. My mom sent that New York Post article to everybody with her face. So she recognized her, but she didn't want to say anything. And then she turns to her and she introduced herself. And my mom goes, that's you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And my mom's friend turns and goes, who is that? My mom was like, nobody. It's nobody.
Yeah.
Nobody. And then I told her I'm Jenny. Because I didn't want to say that I'm Shani.
Yes.
And Jenny and Shani, it's like
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So and then she thought, oh, Jenny, it's like
Yes.
Same name as my daughter.
Yes. As a daughter. Yeah.
Very
good.
how unusual.
I would have done better dancing if I knew that she was in the aisle. I was just like, oh, we're up here for a while dancing. I would have done such a better job dancing if I knew she was watching me.
So, so then when we brought Shani up on stage, so we went up on stage. We'll just play the tape as well while I'm talking over. We went up and said so I think people thought it was going to be us telling them, us giving our speeches. We hate speeches. I as I said, like, people, why on earth would we go up there and tell people what to think of the play? It's already done. It's already done. It's in your own words. People can make up their own minds. So we went up and said, don't worry, it's not one of those dreaded writer or producer speeches. But we have a special guest. So we then introduced the special guest. I says, Jenny, come here. What did you think when that happened?
I was like, first I had a feeling at some point she was going to come. I just didn't know it was going to be that night. So I kind of kept looking on the audience being like, I wonder if she's here. I wonder if she's here. But I run up and down the aisles a lot. So I didn't see her.
We kept her to the very last moment.
Oh, you did. And so when she came up, I've seen her picture. I feel like I know so much about her from afar. But when I saw her, I thought, oh my God, it's you. Like, oh my God, like, you're my hero is like all I thought. She's become my hero. She's given me more strength in my own life. And that's all I thought was, oh my God. And I just didn't know what to say at first, except thank you for for surviving, but also thank you for just giving me the gift to tell your story.
Thank you.
Wow. Thank you for being alive. I think, your mother obviously sent us this magnificent message yesterday, like really absolutely gorgeous. But and she's grateful for the miracle of your life, because it could have been so different, and so many people didn't get to come home again. And so many people are still hostages, and very few people are talking about that. Not enough people are talking about that. Do you have friends who are hostages? Do you have friends who are?
Noah Gamani.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend
is also a hostage.
Yeah. Yeah. And also Ziv and Gil Bergman. I was his medic in the army and the IEF for a long time ago.
Yeah.
So yeah.
My God. And you knew people who also were murdered?
Yeah, yeah, a lot.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't think there's anyone in Israel who doesn't
I
know.
have a lot of names that I can't, it's
Yeah, so many names.
so many.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the character says in the play, just went to series of everyone. I remember talking to a lot of young people who
I
went
have the
to,
picture in my eye right now.
oh yeah, like 40 funerals. People went to 30 funerals, lots and lots, all the time.
So Jenny, you said why you did the play, but what do you hope for the play?
I hope that, well, first, these people's stories deserve to be told. That's what I keep saying, that they deserve justice, that they deserve to be believed, and there's so much proof that it happened. There's so much video proof. It was literally GoPro'd by Hamas. There's so much video proof that this happened. And they just were there to dance. I mean, we will dance again is what the thing that everyone's saying, but I just hope that people take away that it is real and that it's not a political play in any way. Is what I've been saying is just telling the actual things that happen and that they deserve to be told and they deserve to be believed. And that if there's one person, I said this to someone yesterday, if there's one person in the audience that comes in and they're like, did it really happen? I just hope that they see that it's real and that they're moved somehow and that there's still hope. And that's the main thing with her story, is that she finds hope, she finds faith. And one of my best friends says, when something traumatic happens to you, you either move away from your religion or you get closer. And she and I both got closer post October 7th. And there's hope. And these people still have hope despite everything. And it's about living life and it's about celebrating life.
Yeah. Despite what you've gone through. Yeah.
And Shani, what now you've seen the play, what do you think about the play? What do you hope the play does? Have you any thought
that everyone gonna see this play, and yeah, this is what I want to.
Yeah. And we plan, and that's certainly our plan. We want to bring it also to college campuses where a lot of these students have been protesting and making a lot
People need to know.
Yeah.
People need to know what happened.
Yeah.
And there seems to be some difficulty with people finding out because a lot of people don't seem to want to talk about what happened on October 7th.
No.
They want to talk about other days and days since then, but not on that day, what happened on that day.
That's right.
Which started all of this.
Yeah.
And that's why we kept the play very much to that one day. We don't do anything else. We just say, this is what happened. So on October 6th, everything was peaceful and people were organizing themselves for Simchat Torah. I hope I said that correctly.
Yeah, Simchat Torah.
Simchat Torah.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Yeah. I'm gonna have all these phrases and I'll say them correctly. And I think that's something I love about the play, is that you see people telling their stories about how happy they were. One of the characters I think it's really affecting is where she talks about her husband and herself that used to sit on a sofa, and that they used to say, we're so lucky, because and I don't think we say it in the play, but one of the reasons was their daughter had been really ill. Their daughter had leukemia and she had recovered from cancer, and they were so grateful that she was alive, and they were like, our daughter is safe and well, and we still love each other after 40 years.
Is that Michael's story?
That's 𝘼𝙤𝙤. 𝘼𝙤𝙤. And she said we sat on the sofa and we were
Blonde curly hair.
Oh yeah.
She's a woman that's stuck inside the safe room on her own.
Yeah.
She's the most comfortable costume I think of everybody.
Oh yeah.
Mine's the most layered.
That her husband.
No. This is the woman
whose husband was murdered.
Whose husband was murdered, and she was in the room alone, thinking about art galleries that she'd been to try and make sure she doesn't go mad.
Yeah.
But that she had said that on October 6th that they sat together every evening and said, "Aren't we so lucky?"
I don't think she knows that. I don't think Leora knows that.
Okay,
I'll
should
tell her.
Yeah.
I just want to say
that
this is so, because we have a term in Judaism, bashert, and this is so bashert, to be, meaning meant to be, because we have so much in common. It's so wild. Like, she's forever, I told her, a piece of my heart because of how much this character means to me. Like, she'll forever be part of my life. And I didn't know how it was going to be meeting her. I was very nervous. Like, I hope she's nice, and she's the most amazing. Like, my whole cast loves her. Everyone has a crush on her. I won't say who, but
we know. Yeah,
we know. But she's just, I feel so blessed to play somebody with the kindest heart. Her boyfriend's so amazing. And I felt like all of us at the after party were like, what do we say to her? hard to say. And so she's now like part of my, she's like a friend and part of my heart. And I feel like very protective of her.
Yes.
So
it was like we felt the very same way. I mean, we couldn't believe it when we got lucky enough to meet you and to hear the whole story.
Thank you.
It remains one of the most incredible stories.
It means a lot to me, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it was, as I say, it was one of the last stories, and you know the way it is. You know, you think we've got enough story. You know, there's always this feeling like maybe we've got enough. You know, what difference is one more story going to make? And the reality is, you never know. You never know.
Yeah.
And
but it's so central to the whole.
And it's so central to the whole story, and it would be a much weaker story, a much weaker play without your story in it. So we're really glad to have met you, and so glad that you agreed to tell us your story. Actually, how did you have any hesitation about telling your story? Was that the first time you told it?
Yeah, that I told what?
The
When
story.
you spoke to us, was that the first time you?
No, it wasn't the first time. The day after October 7, I started to tell my story over and over and over again. So yeah.
But was that the first time you'd spoken to journalists?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're so glad. We're so glad
we got you. And
I'm so grateful I know her.
Yeah.
Her mom, her brother, her boyfriend, her brother. Well, we'll meet hopefully her brother eventually, but her boyfriend.
Yes.
We can call him soon. We can call him after, you know.
That.
We're all going back to Israel, by the way.
have you been to Israel, Jenny?
I've never been. My mom.
So you should.
Well, now I have to. My mom lived there in the 70s, and so she always told me. And so I remember we were actually sitting on the couch.
She lived in the north, right?
She lived in Beersheba.
Ah, in Beersheba.
She went to like a kibbutz in Beersheba.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Beersheba wasn't the kibbutz.
But
No, I think it's in the north.
She so she always told me about Israel, but I remember sitting on the couch watching CNN at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and then that's when the attacks started happening around that time, and I was like, okay, well, there's always a war going on with Israel, and then the next day all the videos, and there's some videos that still live forever in my head that people aren't even sharing, and they're just those. But every day I told her before I do the play, I think I'm doing this for her, I'm doing this for Noah, and I'm doing this for every victim and every hostage. And also at the end of the play, we have a huge wall with all the hostages in the back of the theater, and I'm sitting, and I have a little while till we're done because I finished my monologue. And I always look at every hostage, and this is what I do every time I pass by a hostage poster, and I think, you're not forgotten, you're not forgotten, you're not forgotten, you're forgotten, is what I do every day after the show.
Yeah, over 200 days now.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was something on CNN yesterday.
Oh, it was very funny.
Sorry to go off. ABC even worse. Americans trapped in Gaza.
Yeah, they were talking about Americans trapped in Gaza.
Yep.
You know,
and it was aid workers.
No, we're talking about aid workers.
Oh yeah.
And it was doing it
like there are other Americans trapped in Gaza unless, you know, there were aid workers who went there and had trouble getting out now or whatever. But there's actual other
Americans trapped in Gaza. Yeah. Breaking news: American trapped in Gaza reports U.S. doctors and citizens unable to leave. And it's like, and they're not talking about the hostages. They weren't talking about the American hostages. It's kind of funny. It's like they completely missed the story. You know,
there are actual Americans. There are
like Hirsch, who's him and his, I'm gonna probably get his friend. They kept throwing the bombs out that were being thrown at them in like one of the shelters they were at, and then his arm was he lost his arm because of it. And I've been to so many rallies and heard his mom speak, and she's doing everything she can to get him home. Yeah.
Well, listen, thank you both very much for coming on the show.
Enjoy the rest of your time in America. You're going to be here for a little bit longer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to do a bit of travel, so people might see you out there in the world.
Yeah.
We just want to encourage people to really come and see the play. Exactly as you guys said, we think it's very powerful to get to know you, even if it's on the stage. But also, obviously, this has been beautiful for us.
So, if you want to buy a ticket, October7theplay.com.
October 7th, and if you can't go, donate to make sure we get it everywhere. Thank you.
Bye.
So,
special.
Yes, very special. And by the way, Shani is coming back to New York. She'll be back in New York, so we're not going to tell you too much about that, but you should come to the play because Shani will be turning up, and maybe other people who are featured in the play. So, again, all you've got to do is go to October7theplay.com. Please donate if you can't come. If you know people in the tri-state area, please do let them know that they could come to see the play, and it's really worth coming to see. There's not enough of this kind of work being done, and funny enough, at the moment in New York, for those of you maybe who are planning a trip, there is actually another artistic endeavor. There's an exhibition called the Nova Exhibition, which is on down in Wall Street, and it's very, very beautiful. We haven't been able to go and see it yet, but they're also remembering what happened to the Nova party goers. So
can I just add another? I was out yesterday at an exhibition, Passion for Freedom, where it's an artistic exhibition, art exhibition, photographic exhibition out in Brooklyn called Passion for Freedom, which it really features free speech people about freedom all over the world. So there's a lot of people, dissident people in the Muslim world, dissident people in various places. Now, not every part of the exhibit I agree with, and at the very least, but it is overwhelmingly skewed towards the idea of freedom. And that's to be welcomed. So that if you're going to come to New York and see the play, you should probably go out and do the Nova exhibition and do Passion for Freedom as well.
But get October 7th, theplay.com is the real priority first here. We would be very remiss if we didn't mention what happened last week with the 7 people who were sentenced for violations of the FACE Act.
Yes, so they blocked an abortion clinic entrance in DC.
Seven pro-life activists who made it difficult for people to access abortion in DC at this abortion clinic run by a guy called 𝙤𝙤 𝙤𝙤𝙈𝙘𝙀𝙀.
And they didn't set up an encampment, and they didn't block it for days.
They didn't kill anyone either, by the way.
And they didn't. So
I'm just going to read the names.
Tell the world how they were treated for this temporary protest, I suppose, at an abortion clinic.
And people need to remember as well, and some of you will have had the guts to do this, and it's not for everyone. They recovered bodies from that clinic. They were given these bodies by the guy who was picking up the remains, basically, the guy working for the what do they call that? The disposal company.
Clinical disposal.
And they took them back, and the photographs are extraordinary. And I mean, there's questions to be asked about the legality of these abortions,
yes,
by the way, and
totally.
Very serious questions. Maybe they were legal, by the way, but some of them look like full-term babies. And obviously, abortion is legal up to full term in Washington, D.C. Most people don't know that, but people need to know that actually full-term abortions are available all over America, by the way, in lots and lots of places, actually in all the places where people mostly live, in the places with the biggest populations. But these remains were discovered. There are very serious questions to be asked about these remains. And despite the fact that these 7 individuals are going to prison for considerable lengths of time, there is, from my understanding, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, there is no investigation going on into the activities of 𝙤𝙤 𝙤𝙤𝙈𝙬𝙀. But I want to just tell, because I think we really need to take a moment here. So Lauren Handy has got 57 months in prison. That's almost 5 years. John Hinshaw has got 21 months. William Goldman, 27 months. Jonathan Darnell, 34 months. Herb Geraghty, 27 months. Jean Marshall, 24 months. Joan Bell, 27 months. But here's the bit I love, Philip. Yes. So I'm going to read this to you. Philip doesn't know what I'm about to read. Mm-hmm. So I looked up, the DOJ are delighted with themselves. They're delighted with themselves to have these convictions and these sentences. And here's what they said, in summing up. Yes. Violence, Philip, has no place in our national discourse.
I would agree.
We're very much in favour of that. But let's finish the sentence. Violence has no place in our national discourse on reproductive health. Oh. Using force, threatening to use force, or physically obstructing access to reproductive health care is unlawful. Do you want to swap out some...
Who said that?
Who said that? Assistant Attorney General Kristen Clark of the DOJ said that. In fact, of the DOJ's Department of Civil Rights Division.
So she's an Assistant Attorney General of the Justice Department Civil Rights Division. So if your civil rights are being...
She's the girl to go to. She would be your go-to girl for if your civil rights... And Philip, here's a question. Is there any group, by the way, right now, whose civil rights might being infringed upon?
Did she say... And right, I mean...
She went on to say... Would you want me to go on to say what else she said? She said, people cannot resort to using force or intimidation to prevent others from engaging in lawful activity simply because they disagree with the law. The department was founded to protect the civil rights of our citizens and remain steadfast in that mission. Okay. You know what? buzz off. You're not one bit steadfast.
No.
Right, Phelim?
Because actually, imagine if that was another minority.
Group of people. Let's go back and maybe rewrite these. Violence has, let's try this out, Phelim. Violence has no place in our national discourse on Israel.
Right.
Using force, threatening to use force, or physically obstructing access to a university is unlawful. I just swapped out some names there. But by changing out those words, like, I didn't dramatically change the law. I didn't change law, right?
No.
But that's a law that's not being enforced in America.
Yes.
Is that right, Phil?
Yes. Well,
And
I
then
mean,
people-
I can actually see it from.
Oh, yeah,
like Sarah Palin, I can see it from my window.
And you got shoved the other day, Phelim.
Yes.
At Fordham. People cannot resort to using force and intimidation to prevent others from engaging in lawful activity simply because they disagree with the law. The department was founded on the rights of people to civil rights of our citizens and remains steadfast.
The department was founded to protect the civil rights of our Jewish citizens.
Of our Jewish citizens, Jewish and non-Jewish citizens.
But yeah. So, are you suggesting that they're selectively enforcing the law to persecute their political enemies?
Shockingly, Phelim. And I do note, Phelim, by the way, and it's worth mentioning that Nancy Pelosi's husband, who was, by the way, violently assaulted, the guy who did that has got 30 years. And
30
many
years.
of the people listening here, by the way, who are very smart and smarter than the average, of course, our audience, will know that there are some very odd sentences that don't seem at all to tally with that 30 years. I'm not saying I disagree with the 30 years, but I think that there are other people doing awful things who are not getting
People are found with guns.
anything. People are raping children, by the way, and they're not getting anything near that.
Can I just borrow this? And there's just something I want to read to our listeners that just
Go
occurred
ahead
to
there,
me.
Phelim. You can.
You talk
It's your
among
podcast.
yourselves.
We'll talk among ourselves.
Yes.
But yes, I think that this is. Oh, Phelim's looking. What? Hold
on.
No, you've got to look up something. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
It's
We'll
just
take
to remind me, people. I suppose what I'm actually looking up. There's a big question now: are the Jewish people going to stop voting Democrat
Oh yeah.
now? Right.
Given the treatment that they've received of late.
And that's a good example there, right? So.
And by the way, just before we go on, you can go and do your thing. We'll just set aside the Jews for one moment. Everyone else seems to be doing it. And look at what happened during the BLM protests, by the way, where people in Portland and Seattle who would like to have gone for a cup of coffee were prevented from going for a cup of coffee.
Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles, we couldn't go shopping.
No, but also
I couldn't get to the off
I
license.
was going to say to the gym.
I was going to say, no, Phelim, that's not ever going to be a problem.
No, then you'd know. We know you're making. No,
by
but,
the way,
no,
can I
but sorry,
just say-
sorry.
no, can I just
30
say
people
something?
died. 30 people died.
Oh yeah, 30 people died,
No prosecution.
and no one has gone to prison.
They broke a curfew in Los Angeles, and the DA issued a thing. The busloads were arrested. Said we're not going to prosecute because people were upset. People were emotional. Well, maybe these people at the abortion clinics were emotional.
Oh no! By the way, were they emotional? I mean, sorry.
see dead
when
babies.
you see what they saw,
Yeah.
when Lauren opened the boxes, I mean, and she knows her stuff. Like it's not like she was one baby. By the way, and we're not going to show the pictures because you guys can look them up. They're very easy to find. Yeah. But one baby was in his amniotic sac. So major questions need to be asked, and there is no investigation going on. So are they emotional? You betcha. You betcha.
So.
Now,
the big question, it's a very interesting political question. Is Joe Biden going to lose the Jewish vote? Are Jews going to become less liberal, less Democrat? Because the Democrats have shown themselves to be the biggest, they're the new anti-Semites, the new anti-Israel people, the pro-Palestinians. They don't care about the 1,200 people killed. They don't care about the hostages.
Well, the hostages are completely forgotten.
It's wrong to say they don't care. They're actively...
Nobody's talking about them.
They want to... many Democrats supported October 7th, tweeted support and resistance and all that, many of the far left. So we had a reporter from the Jewish Telegraphic Agency. It sounds like a big thing.
Jewish Week, New York Jewish Week.
Yeah.
Okay.
And her name is Chaba Perlansky. So 1,200 people were killed, 250 hostages, thousands injured. And it's not just 1,200 people. These are people, men, women, and children, innocent people, completely innocent. And they were hunted, as somebody said to me, they were hunted down and massacred. They just weren't killed. Like, they were hunted.
Yeah.
They were hunted. So she came to see the play.
Yep.
What do you think she got out of the play? What do you think Chava Perlansky, who I think she's Jewish, right? But I'm not assuming that. But I'm assuming, you know,
Let's hear it, Phil.
I am assuming. Here's the headline. In October 7, the play, right-wing culture warriors bring Israeli survivors' accounts to the New York stage.
You have to get your dig in early.
But it's like, that's what you got out of it? That's what you got
Well, that's
out
the
of it?
headline.
Right.
the headline.
Veteran journalist. Okay, here's the opening paragraph. Veteran journalists and producers. You don't know.
I don't know this. No, go
Philip
ahead.
McAleer and Anne McElhinney. Right.
Oh, that sounds good. I'm happy now.
That's good.
I'm happy. Veteran. I like that. Move on. Yes.
Best known for their films attacking abortion, questioning the science and climate change,
Oh, yeah.
and exposing Biden family corruption, have lived in Los Angeles for 15 years.
Yes. So, just in case any of the
That's the opening paragraph.
That's the opening paragraph. Let's get the digs in quickly now. Yeah.
Well, that colours everything.
That's everything you need to know.
Yeah, and it just goes on.
because she's hoping basically nobody will read any further beyond
Well,
that.
you
Maybe.
know, basically, that's saying don't
listen to anything those people would say.
because they're
Because they
evil.
have an opinion that's different than yours. There you go. You know, shockingly. Or
so-
they're reporting on stuff, by the way, that nobody else is reporting on. And by the way, I think, you know, we're just going to finish now, by the way. And I want to say a couple of things. One, again, to remind everyone, please donate. Go to October7theplay.com. Buy tickets, share, tell people in the tri-state area and beyond, look, get in a car and drive here because this is very, very significant. People really love the show. And actually, and I think it was one of the people we had quoted last week said, if, you know, the people who feel like they couldn't watch the 47 minutes of the Hamas massacre, the actual video,
or the
Hamas
Sheryl Sandberg documentary.
or the Sheryl Sandberg documentary, this is very palatable. Bizarrely, this is actually very palatable, and anyone could sit through it. By the way, you know, even a young person could, and obviously we've had young people be there. We've come to the end, Phil.
Yes.
I think we've come to the end. So please do all of that. Thank you so much, and we will be talking to you next week.
Yes.
Look forward to it.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.